Okay, so we are going to be going over my favorite topic is seeking help because, like Robin had mentioned, you will need help at many points, whatever you're doing. So honestly, if you learn nothing from this today, learn how to seek help. So so by the end of this little section, we're hoping that you'll be able to read our help files for functions and special operators, to be able to use the CRAN task views to identify packages to solve a problem, and then to be able to also seek help from your peers, because I find that is the best help you can find when you're stuck. So, for example, every package provides help files for their functions. The general syntax is for help on any function is function name. From a specific function that is loaded into your R session, there's two ways you can do it. So you can either do question mark. So let's see here. You could do question mark, or you could do the help function. And then as Robin had mentioned, it nicely pops up. What are you trying to ask here? So we want help searching for a function. So if you run these, they're not going to produce anything because it's going to be like, well, what do you need help with? So okay, so we need to put something in there. So if we want to look up the help file for right table, we'll be using that similar function in an upcoming section. So let's go ahead and try that. So you could either do the question mark and then do the right table. There we go. It's coming up for me. And then run that. I did the little the control enter run, but you could hit run. And then down here where our files and our packages, all that, where we can explore, is the help tab, which Robin had mentioned. And so this is where it spits out your help. So we were looking for help on right table. So it will give you a description, the usage, how to use it, all that good stuff. And then it also gives you arguments for it. And so the usage, the arguments of the function and their default values. So that's that. Ooh, that was me. Sorry. And then the arguments are an explanation of the data each argument is expecting. If there's any other details that you should be aware of, it also gives you the value, which is the data the function returns. So, some examples of how to use this function. Different functions might have different sections, but these are the main ones that you should be aware of. And let's see here. Okay, so when you're trying to seek help on a special operator, so an operator, Robin, remind me, I'm so bad with the actual names. Operator is another name for, yeah, like a special function, essentially. Okay, and so when you're seeking help on a special operator, you want like the arrows, for example. So let's look at that. So we have a question. You need to use backticks for that. So instead of just writing right table like we did for the package we were looking at, you want to find out what that little arrow does to assign a variable. Then you need to use the little backticks. And so you, in between those ticks, you could then put in what you're trying to look for. So that arrow should look familiar to everybody. So that's how we assign variables, right? And so if we run that, it gives a description of what that operator does. So the description is it assigns a value to a name, right? We all know that. It creates a variable for us. So that's kind of another way that you can use the help to even figure out how you want to use specific operators. Question? Either one. You can use backticks or single quotes. Susan. You can use either one. Good question. Okay. Oh, any more questions? Oh, okay, only single quotes. Okay. Yeah, they both should work, but yeah, if you're having a problem with one or the other, just try the other one, and hopefully one of those should work. If not, just throw it all away. I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's where your peer help comes in. Many packages come with vignettes. I think I'm saying that right, which are tutorials and extended example documentation. Without any arguments, vignette with the little parentheses will list all vignettes for all installed packages. So if I'm just going to copy that over. So if we do that and we run it, it then shows wow. Yeah. It shows everything, all the vignettes for the installed packages. So if a package doesn't have any vignettes, you can usually find help by typing the help and then the package name. And so let's see here. Oh, and then RStudio also has an excellent set of excellent cheat sheets for many packages, which I believe are linked on our website. Okay. So that is kind of the nitty-gritty of entering things into R for helping. As you could see, when you ran this, it pulled up another window. And so you can always close that window. You don't need to save it. But if you ever need to run it again, it'll just pull up in a separate window for you. Okay, the best way to seek out support for your code when you're getting errors is from your peers. Stack Overflow is probably the best place you can go to find help for your questions. So if you're writing code and you get that unfortunate, error, I'm about to explode because whatever you're telling me doesn't make any sense. A lot of times just copying your code and copying the error message into Stack Overflow and being like, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, you'll get a lot of responses. And then just always when you're using a website, you can always kind of look and see how other people have asked questions. And then to kind of make sure you're asking it in the right format, so you're giving enough information for people to be able to answer. But you know how people are. If you forget something, people will absolutely comment back of like, well, I need to know this to be able to help you, blah, 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 blah. So like I said, that's a really good spot. And if you can't find the answer there are a few useful functions to help you ask your peers. So if you enter in like $dput and run that, okay, so let's see. This will dump the data that you're working on into a format that can be copied and pasted by others into their own R session. So here is, right here is what you would pull out, excuse me, you would pull out to be able to, sorry, I'm just thinking, is it the whole thing? I think it's just this part. Right here is what you would pull out, copy and paste to throw into Stack Overflow to help maybe provide more information on the problem that you're having. And so that's one way to provide more information. Another way is session info. So if you do session info, and here you go, it comes up for you, and you run that one. That will print out your current version of R, as well as, see here, right here, session info. So it copies out your current version of R, the platform you're running it on, as well as any packages you have loaded. And so again, this might be information that's helpful. So if you're in Stack Overflow and they're like, okay, well, you know, what version of R are you using? What packages do you have installed? It's like, here you go, session info, run it and copy paste, throw it in the Stack Overflow. So there's some additional information. So let's do a little challenge on everything I just spewed. We're going to look up the help page for the C function. What kind of, oh, did we get into vectors yet? I don't think we got into vectors. Okay, I'm going to ignore that question. Okay, so yeah, look up the help for the C function. Oh, okay, it's going to give you the answer. What kind of vector do you expect will be created if you evaluated the following? And when you do the help, and whichever way you choose to do it, those couple ways I showed you, for that C function, down here should kick out, down on the bottom right, should kick out the answer for you of what kind of vector do you expect will be created if you evaluate the following. And we'll get into vectors here in a second. Oh, absolutely. Okay, remember everybody, green stickies or red stickies if you need help, red check marks if you need help, Zoom folks, and green check, wait, red X's, green check marks, Zoom folks. If there's any questions, feel free to throw them out there to the helpers. I see we have somebody that has a question or maybe needs a little support online. Got it. Thanks, Robin. And I'll give a couple more minutes here. I'm hoping to see a few more green stickies or check marks before we move. I'm looking support over here. Got it. Juan, can you? Okay. This one was a true challenge. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go through for those that are still working on it. I'm hoping you can follow along, and I'm hoping this will start making sense. So if we want to see what the operator C does, right? We want to go ahead and ask it. C. Okay, so what that does is it combines values into a vector or a list. And so a vector is essentially when a list is all the elements are the same type. So all of the inputs are the same type, all the data in that list. Okay, and so then if you went on to the second part of the challenge and ran that, what okay, so what's happening here is, let's see, in the first case here, the elements are all numeric, right? And so in the second case, they're all characters. And in the third case, there's also characters. And so if you run each one, you'll see how it tells you what it's picking out, right? And that is, let's see. Okay, and so what's happening here is the numeric values are being coerced into characters. That is because when you have a vector, you can't have a vector with differing like characters or integers. You can't have, you can't have multiple data types in a vector. And so what this is actually doing is it's forcing it to be all characters. This is important down the road. So let's see here, if time allows, we'll skip the second challenge and we'll start going into the data structure.